This is a quick update on how things are going. Like, things these days have not been ideal. Audio quality should be better though, but put simply, I've been quite just worried and a bit morose over things that I wish didn't happen, but I'm kind of stuck with it. And I made some mistakes, but thankfully it could have been worse. And they're all over and dealt with. Model has changed since I last uploaded, by the way, but well, I've been trying to, battle my tiredness as well. And I also have a video coming up, but I was gonna have two videos coming up, but the second one ended up going wrong. And the computer I use to make proper videos is kind of out of action at the moment, and thus isn't exactly ideal. But what am I gonna do about it? So it's kind of unfortunate to say the least, but I hope that my skills end up being useful. I mean, I'm trying to chug along, we're doing creative stuff, but it's sort of like, each day is a milestone. And it's also been like a very big circus, and I've unfortunately had to deal with potentially losing someone I cared about. And I mean this as in an online sense where this person kind of just dropped off the radar and had for the silliest of reasons. And I'm not happy about that. Like it was such like the person deleted their server and well, it only went downhill from there. But I'm here doing what I do best. Of course, I've also been reading a lot and in particular a lot of fan fiction, and I've been on VR a lot because, you know, it's always good to have, and I caught up and I got an item in there that I wanted. Unfortunately, one of the most recent engineering things I've worked on, impressive thing, but it only turned out to be a case of where I'm going to have to burn even more money trying to get it manufactured into something actually useful. Like I'm gonna have to burn money to get it to a point where I can afford the actual like to actually afford to not have to like keep ordering prints and finding them to be broken. I have to afford them by like I have to sort of save up money to get the one company said that they'd be interested. Well, they require an upfront payment. And I was just told by one of the previous clients that it would be expensive. So they didn't specify how much, but it's not looking like that's a cheap option. But it's not like I have any other options to begin with. So there's nothing I can really do in that regard. But, well, we all make choices in life. And, well, there are times where it feels like I'm sort of in an uphill battle. Not to mention, I've done all sorts of creative stuff recently. I mean, I tried writing a song in Soundtrap again, and it was a complete failure. I tried harder than my first song at that, and harder than my second song for that matter, and it was a complete failure. Absolutely nothing went right, and I'm not happy about that at all. Like it sounded good that I was making it, but then I like downloaded the song file, which was its own circus. I listened to that song file and I was not impressed. Like, impressed as in the gas station hamburger type of thing. It was just not a fun moment because I realized that a couple of hours of work were completely wasted. I can fix it, but I've sunk cost fallacy. I usually break it, but the sunk cost is what sunk cost does best, and my brain power is at a premium these days. If to quote a comment on a video I like about someone writing a song, ironic. Well, for me, things have just been kind of busy. Of course, I had a whole bunch of things have been there's been a bunch of messy situations going on closer to home. Like, for instance, let me just put it this way: is whenever you keep dealing with other people's baggage, it's not really a good thing, and especially when it's the people, you know, you you share a place with. I'm counting on the days till I can begin anew, and hopefully next year or year and a half, more likely, there won't really be any of that going on, and hopefully I can be who I want to be. All of that. I just got to make sure I do it right and time it right for that matter. But, well, I dare say I won't say it's been, the most ideal situation, but, well, as much as it is very unfortunate, it could be much worse. But, well, I think there's a lot of things I could say that about. But honestly, it's more like I have a lot of things I've been doing these days that have, been not the, not the smartest choice. I'll also say that the things I've dealt with aren't exactly the most ideal. But what am I going to do about it is the question. And, well, to this day, I still put the same amount of love into everything I make. And, well, it shows. And then I'm also often trying to hopes I get a big break. Hopefully, someone likes what I do enough to make me a household name or something of the sort. Not to sound self-aggrandizing or anything, but it's more just legitimately, I'm just trying to make good content. Make sure I was so update schedule, but well, I'm just trying to help. It's that simple. If only some people saw it that way, but well, not everyone really even understands that my speech for one thing. So, what are you gonna do about it is the question. And I mean, socially, it's kind of, well, in life, sometimes you just have to do things the non-simple way, and it says a lot about the current state of the market whenever nobody wants to, you know, buy anything you made. And I don't just mean current. I mean, go back to 2022. Same thing. Nobody wanted to hit me up on anything. Nobody wanted to do anything. And the unfortunate part about this is that it kind of just starving artist moment. But I ain't starving, but on paper I should be, but that's its own can of worms. Ultimately, I've just had a lot going on, and I also feel like I've been running out of outlets for it because of just how much ridiculousness is going on at the moment. And unfortunately, it turns into a bit of a circus. And the other problem with that is that I'm broke. So it's not like there's anything I can do about it yet. Though I will say that the career path I'm planning on going into does pay decently, and on top, so I can sort of eventually afford more of the things I've wanted for eons. I'll also say that I'm financially underwater, and my gaming PC is being a bit silly again, so I gotta get that fixed. hope it's still in warranty, thank goodness, but uh, n- that's its own can of worms, and I don't know what to do about it. But well, I mean, it seems like I just have like the worst luck with technology because a lot of technology things I've done. I mean, I had to replace my phone's SD card recently because the old card was starting to show that it was not in the not in the most fitting form. It was just starting to just cause problems, and I'm like, I have to fix this before things get out of hand. And so that's what I did. I won't say it was like, you know, but it almost didn't happen. But if I waited one more day, things would have possibly gone horribly awry, and I'd have lost on my works I'd made in the past month. So it's kind of unfortunate, but what am I going to do about it? Like, uh, and yeah, the memory prices, God, it's just kind of silly. It all of this is a big circus, but well, it's kind of not the most ideal, but what am I going to do about it? Hopefully, and now there's 8 terabyte SD cards. Well, I mean, I'm glad I read the standard, and also now I know that some people are online not exactly being correct about stuff, which is kind of unfortunate. But what are you going to do about it? And yeah, it's there are many things you can do if you're clever about it. So it, there's a lot of things that are worth considering and doing things with. Uh, well, it's honestly been wild, and I mean, entertainment is fun and all, and it's good. I wish I could one day, be a podcaster on this because I like the format so much. And sure, I'm using VC Face, which is it just feels right. And it's also lightweight enough to run on even potato computers or toaster if you prefer. Like this it's perfect for on the go when you can't bring a gaming laptop, or if you do bring one, it will possibly get stolen. Also I've noticed that like the scaling things on there remind me a lot of a certain other Sona, but well, what are you gonna do about it is the thing. Like there's a lot of very cool stuff going on, but it's not been ideal. But, a VR model in VRoid is perfect. It's great. It's good. It's just more good luck trying to find, like it's just kind of cool, but it's not, ideal. I feel like my summer's just been a lot my last summer of freedom for a while, but I feel like it's just sadder and either been tired or dealing with situations I absolutely don't need to deal with at the moment. And it kind of just turns into a big circus. And so, well, there is that to consider, and it's not something ta- I that is exactly the best idea. Like, legitimately, it's a situation that is kind of just it is what it is. But and the fact that I have to upload it like very late at night is also due to a bit of a messy situation, and unfortunately, it ain't exactly a good situation either. But what am I gonna do about it? Hopefully, that I can actually have a better upload schedule at a time when more people statistically will be viewing without having any problems. That's the thing. I have to deal with a lot, but it is what it is. Ultimately, the stuff I do is kind of wild, but hopefully everyone enjoys it and that I'll keep calm and carry on. And If I were you, I would try to avoid the more parts of the internet that are kind of just saying things without thinking them through, I suppose. Like, or those people who think something is bad immediately, but then uh, things aren't exactly what they seem in terms of how bad they are or how bad they aren't. Like, if there is legitimately a problem, we should know about it. But if herpa derpa, it's not as bad as it's being painted, then trying to claim that it is kind of a not wise move to make. But well, we all in we all sometimes panic, but well, it is what it is. Like, just when it comes to the internet, the amount of times I've seen people think about something, but when they think it, it isn't exactly the most well reasoned argument or well reasoned point, is kind of unfortunately too high of a number, and I'm not liking that at all. Like, objectively, when it comes to, thinking about important things, it's better to do it right and also be conscientious about what you consume and also what like. There's a lot of things that just kind of you don't want to see a bunch of contention anywhere. Nobody likes that. Just do your best, be the best internet person you can be, and just focus on what makes you happy. Focus on all the most important things in life, and most importantly, find things to keep yourself in a state where you can actually be a nice person. Like, be a better person, and also just never be afraid to do the right thing. As Back to the Future, the game, George McFly in the Citizen Brown timeline said. That being said, if you're going to do the right thing, doing it for the wrong reasons, like self-aggrandizement, probably isn't the best idea, but, well, people like to sometimes claim they are qualified for something they aren't qualified for, in that they sort of try to say that something is, I can do it, but in reality, they can't. And only just, it's all smoke and mirrors. Like how an old ID software game library before Quake is not 3D. It may claim to be, but it's not technically that, though there are arguments that it is, and fair enough. They're well reasoned. But like the fact that you can draw Wolf 3D's levels on a shitty graph paper says a lot. And well, it's kind of, I mean, it is what it is. It was impressive at the time because processors back then were not very good at all. But well, even now, it's a technique. The technique used in its successor, we still use it. It's just kind of like you'll find it in like games like Gary's Mod, for instance. But well, that's the nature of tech, is that someone will always find a quick and simple solution to work our way out of a problem. But the problem might not be the easiest to work out of. And sometimes the tricks needed to work out of it are themselves not the cleanest tricks, that's for sure. There's sometimes code as inelegant as Minecraft code, or it's ingenious like the fast invert square root. But the thing that's kind of unfortunate is that nowadays a lot of our OSs, and for that matter, code and games are not optimized for the best hardware. And I think in general, understanding that not everyone has a NASA computer or a computer that is awful. Like people generally tend to have mid-range computers, though don't target mid-range as the only target. If you're going to target computers for optimization, to a point, you should focus on the lowest common denominator, especially if what you're doing is mission critical and what you're doing won't affect the security of a system you make, because system security is hard to do on legacy systems. But at the same time, giving up on all legacy users is just asking for a bad thing to happen in terms of equity. Like, not everyone has the latest and greatest PC. Not everyone can get the latest and greatest PC. Sometimes it's what was the budget option years ago, and that's what you have. And so unless you have a very good reason, uh, getting rid of that is kind of a bad idea. And if you do that, you're going to make users unhappy whenever they can't access their important site or their favorite site on a computer that is from not quite the Jurassic, but still quite an old computer. But it still runs modern OSs, or would. But at the same time, Linux can rival computers. So you got computers that were bargain bin years ago be still relevant to modern users via a Linux distribution or a BSD distribution, or if you want to get technical about it, Herd. But the thing about that is that, you know, keeping computers out of the landfill is much better even than recycling them. Like if you can keep older computers still usable, it's better than having to recycle them because it takes energy to recycle computers. Not to mention the waste products aren't exactly healthy. So like it comes to the matter of reduce the waste you create as the reduce, reuse, recycle phenomenon goes. And I agree, fair enough. Like we shouldn't have to be keep replacing our devices every so often because the owners of the company say we should. Instead, keep your old computer around, keep it running, check for lost media while you're at it if you can, and I think you'll find a lot of cool stuff with that. But well, if only people understood that we need to do everything we can to protect the planet, and furthermore, we need to protect our resources so we can continue making actually useful stuff. Now, I'm not saying we should never upgrade our products. Like it should be user upgradable, and that if there's a major breakthrough, people should get it. But a whole new device every year for just a CPU capability bump without any extra proper instruction set augmentation is kind of a bad idea. The other thing that stands out about this, though, is that overall, we need to make computers run better too. And also, security theater is bad too, where like secure boot on Windows is kind of bad, but because of how it affects Linux users. But I would say that in general, what we all should be doing right now is trying to be the best person we can and improving the ways in which we contribute to society for the better. And we as a society should be friendly, be kind to another, and just honor everyone you meet in how you behave towards them. Be nice. Be nice people. Don't be evil, and do your part and be the change you want to see in the world. And for that, I think we as leave the world better than when you found it. And let me tell you, the way I found it ain't exactly the best, especially how I'm facing things right now. But well, it is what it is, and I'm just trying to help. help make the world a better place. So even if I'm not always the most rational person, as I try to be, it is, however, a good thing to remember leave the world better than you found it. And, well, if I were you, I would, help someone out or make a product and do something that helps you feel better, but also helps people. I always feel good when I help out people, but also do something that helps everyone else out. And, when you help someone, you'll feel happy inside and be a good person for the purposes of doing the right thing. If you as a human society can be better people and nicer people for that matter, like just help people out when they need help. Don't like shun them for it, as has happened to you before, and just be a person who helps out just with giving advice, giving knowledgeable advice if needed, and never, and always being there for people who could really use your help. It is with the following and preceding PSAs that I humbly depart with the message that you should stay strong and carry on and never be afraid to do the right thing and be the best person you can be and be a person who lives life to the fullest and helps others live life to the fullest, and at the same time keeps helping out people who genuinely need help and not pretending they do when they don't, but just help people out even when they don't think they need it. But just be a helpful person, and with that hope, I depart. Thank you.